What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Evan here, back at it again with another video. I'm, starting something new. Just like my last video was kind of a new rant. This video is going to be a top 5 Telltale games. Now, to preface this, Telltale Games is my favorite game company, maybe besides CD Projekt Red, who make the Witcher series. They're probably tied, but Telltale is definitely up there. And I'm going to rank all the games that I've played. Ignore the Guardians of the Galaxy thing. I had to put something as an intro that wouldn't spoil the rest of the list. But the top 5 games. We're going to start with some honorable mentions, though. The first honorable mention that we have is The Walking Dead Michonne. Now, I would say this is probably my least favorite one that I've played. Also, I should say I have played all of the games on this list. And I only include games that I've played on the list. So any game that's after The Walking Dead Season 1, which was in 2012, are included. I've played all of them and completed all of them. The Walking Dead Michonne really left me kind of unimpressed. It was fun, like the action sequences with because if you watch the show or know the comics, as you can see, she has a katana, like a sword. And the action sequences were really, really cool and crisp, but the story was just kind of underwhelming. And I know it was a mini-series, there's only 3 episodes instead of the normal 5, but it didn't do it for me. I was very underwhelmed at the end of some episodes, and when it was all wrapped up, I'm like, oh, well, okay, that's it. It didn't affect the main Season 1 or Season 2, it was just kind of a, a spin-off, so I don't know. It was good, but it didn't do it for me. The next honorable mention that we have is Minecraft Story Mode. Now, this almost made the top 5. Surprisingly, I didn't think I would like it that much, but I ended up really enjoying the game. But it just barely misses out in the top 5, and I'll explain, why the other games are in the top 5 later on. But this game is the only one where they were Telltale made extra episodes. There's 8 in total. There was only supposed to be 5, but then they made 3 extra DLCs, episodes 6, 7, and 8. And they were all fun. It started off kind of slow in the beginning, but it started to pick up once the plot, advanced. The plot was kind of confusing towards the end because it's obviously Minecraft, so it's like meant for kids. Like normally in Telltale games there's like cursing or violence. Like at most it's just like hitting a creeper, as you can kind of see. It's just or hitting, I don't know, or hitting another sword. You don't really. It was really different for a Telltale game, and that's probably why it's an honorable mention. It was just too different. It's not the type of game that I would expect Telltale to go after. But yeah, Minecraft Story Mode is a honorable mention for me. It was good. I liked it more than I thought I would. That's kind of a good way to wrap that one up. The next honorable mention, and the final honorable mention I have, and some people might disagree with this, but it's The Walking Dead Season 2. Season 2, not Season 1. I like Season 1 a bit more than Season 2. Mostly because, well, I'll explain why I like Season 1 later, but I didn't like Season 2 as much because I didn't feel like the story was as compelling. I didn't care about the characters as much. And, I mean, obviously I cared about Clementine, and any of Clementine's stuff was good. But other than that, like obviously the big, spoiler. The big spoiler was meeting Kenny, and that moment was just great. Like meeting Kenny, but like after that, Kenny just didn't seem himself. It felt really off. I thought Carver was a fantastic villain, but when I say it's an honorable mention, I don't mean it's a bad game by any means. It's a fantastic game, fantastic, but it just barely missed out on the top 5. So. It's just, I don't, it hurts me to put it as an honorable mention because it was so good, but it just didn't do it for me. I didn't care about it as much. The pacing was kind of back and forth at times. Like sometimes you were just stuck in Carver's hideout, the villain, kind of being held captive there, doing, basically slave labor at one point, and it was kind of really slow at that point. But there's more I could say. But we're moving on to number 5. The number 5 best Telltale game that I've played, in my opinion, is Telltale Game of Thrones. Now, there's probably some bias to this, but I am a huge Game of Thrones fan. It's my favorite TV show of all time. Second would probably be Walking Dead.
How
You know, which thank God Telltale did both of these TV shows. Some people think Game of Thrones wasn't that good. For whatever reason, I thought it was amazing. They even got the voice actors from the show. Like, you can see there's Marjorie and Cersei. If you watch the show, you know who they are. They got Ramsay Bolton, Jon Snow, the actual actors who played them in real life to lend their voice. Daenerys Targaryen, who was voiced by Emilia Clarke. She was in the game. The reason this isn't higher is because it was I didn't like how they could kill off the main characters, and also something I didn't like is there were multiple playable characters in this game. Normally, like in The Walking Dead, you play as Clementine, but in this you play as 5 different siblings of the House Forrester. I didn't like it that much. I thought I would, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, you know, multiple playable characters with different fates. For whatever reason, for me, it didn't come together as well. It was a fantastic game, but it's just the reason it's number 5 is the multiple playable characters. I felt like 5 was a big number, even though one of them got killed off in the first episode. But number 4, by far the funniest Telltale game, Tales from the Borderlands. This game made me actually laugh out loud. Which games like rarely make, they make you actually like you laugh in your head or like do like a chuckle or something like that. But like I was like laughing really hard at some of the moments in this game. If you played Borderlands, you know that there's really funny humor, and this is no exception. I like the main characters were funny, kind of relatable. There were 2 playable characters in this one, not 5, which is another reason I liked it a little bit more. There was Reese and Fiona. I personally liked playing as Reese because he used to work for Hyperion, which is like the big bad company, and he broke away from that with his friend Vaughn and met Fiona, and then they get in all the craziness. At the end of the game, it's such an enjoyable, funny experience. Like, it never takes itself super seriously, which obviously Borderlands never does in the first place. One thing I'll admit I didn't like, there was like a money system in the game, and I'm glad they never brought this back in another game. You had opportunities to get money in other places throughout the game, and you could spend it on like cosmetic stuff or options. I wish they didn't do that because there's some cool options that kind of were restricted that way. As you can see on screen right now, this loader bot, that guy was hilarious. He has no sarcasm whatsoever. Everything he says is super literal. But it's just stuff like that. So I like this game a lot because I like the Borderlands series. Borderlands 2 is a fantastic game. Played it and beat on the Xbox. But yeah, this game was my number 4. And as we're finishing up the trailer here, and how could I not mention Handsome Jack is back after he dies in Borderlands 2? The fact that Handsome Jack is back in the mind of Reese is just, it made it for a fantastic game. It was hilarious. You can see on screen that was Zero, who was from Borderlands 2. So it's just like different. And also other recurring characters from Borderlands 1 and 2 come into this game as like side characters. So that's great. I love that. Another possibly controversial pick for my number 3 is Telltale Batman. I went into this with kind of low expectations. I didn't think I would like this game. Sort of like Minecraft Story Mode. I didn't think I would like it. I went into Tales of the Borderlands Game of Thrones expecting to like this is gonna be the best Telltale game ever, and it wasn't. It's only my number 5. Batman, I went in expecting this is probably gonna be really bad. For whatever reason, I just didn't think it would work. Boy, was I wrong. The action is so much fun as Batman, even though it's like obviously like quick time events and kind of similar stuff like that. But there's other sections where you're either Bruce Wayne or Batman and you're a detective, putting together crime scenes. That was so much fun. The branching storylines really felt like super different. Sometimes in other Telltale games they're different, but not like extremely different. You know what I mean? But in this one, it's just the different choices you make affected things so much. The twist at the end, some people said it was kind of obvious. I never saw it coming. So the twist ending at the end, I don't want to spoil it because it's huge. It's towards the end of the game. It made just the whole game so much crazier. Realizing why the bad person, the villain, Lady Arkham, as you come to find her. Why she was evil when she did all this stuff. But it was a great ending. Great game. Catwoman was fantastic. The Penguin was fantastic. Everybody was amazingly voice acted. Just super smooth. I don't know. I really don't have much to say bad about this game. I loved it. It was so good. It was just so good overall. The next game we have, which is going to be number 2 on my top 5 Telltale Games list, is The Walking Dead Season 1. This game, I believe, won Game of the Year, or at least was nominated. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it won Game of the Year in 2012 when it came out. This was my first Telltale game. This was I originally put on the Xbox 360. This was the first game I convinced myself to actually buy from the Xbox Live Arcade, and I do not regret it in the slightest. I don't remember how old I was. I was probably in high school or middle school when this game came out originally. I had never been so hyped for another release of a game when Episode 2 came out. And Episode 2 was arguably the best episode in all of the Season 1. So it just made it better and better and better. You really cared about the characters. Lee, who is the man right there, he was the main playable character. And then Clementine is the little girl you take care of after you look for her parents the entire... You have to travel to Savannah to try and find her parents. You know, because we don't know if they're alive or not. I'm not going to spoil anything. You meet Kenny, who's a really great character. That guy, he was the old guy was really mean, but he gets his fate in the end. You learn about Lee's family, what happened to them. It's so sad. You have to deal with so many heart-wrenching decisions. And if you've been on the internet, you've probably known the last ending, the last choice of Episode 5, where Season 1 ends. And I'll spoil it because like everybody's seen it on the internet, or at least most people have seen it on the internet. So you don't want to hear it, you can skip ahead a little bit. But the last choice is where you have to either shoot Lee after he's bitten, or leave him to turn. And it's Clementine's choice. So it's the perfect transition in Season 2, because Lee's not going to make it. Lee is not making it to Season 2, but Clementine is. And Clementine is the playable character in Season 2. So it was a perfect transition. It was one of the hardest choices I've ever had to make in a video game. So it's just... Oh man, that game was just a rush back in the day. And still is. I've played it multiple times. It's fantastic. Before we get to our number 1 pick, I have to give a shout out to a game that's not actually a Telltale game, but it's like a choose your own adventure game. And that game is Life is Strange. This was developed by Square Enix. This game was one of my favorite games ever made. I wish it was made by Telltale so it could be on this list. But Square Enix did a fantastic job with this game. Just nothing bad I could... If this could be on the list, right now it's just a shout out. It's not even an honorable mention because it wasn't made by Telltale. But if I had a choice, this would be number 1 or 2. It'd be very close. But finally, number 1. The number 1 game, in my opinion, Telltale has made. And this is by far, it wasn't even close, is The Wolf Among Us. This game was so good. This would be like a 10 out of 10. This the whole season. A 9.9 at the lowest because Episode 4 was a little bit short. Other than that, it was just perfect. I cared about every character. I thought every character was interesting. Long story short, it's like, imagine if a bunch of fairy tale characters like the big bad wolf, Snow White, the huntsman, the 3 little pigs, all these, the Little Mermaid, all these people lived in New York, in like a tenement kind of area of New York, a rundown area, and everybody had to kind of survive. And there's a bunch of trouble and mishap that happens. There's there's surprisingly nudity. There's violence. There's not anything I could say in this amount of time that would give this game justice. The ending of the game and all the decisions you have to make, and then the cliffhanger. I'm still waiting for Season 2 of this game. They have to make it. They left it on a cliffhanger. It was fantastic. I hope they finish this game. Or not finish, but add a second season. Excuse me. I hope they had a second season. because, as you can see, just so many crazy characters. I went into this game with absolutely no expectations, and I was blown away. Best Telltale game, even better than Walking Dead Season 1, which won Game of the Year. Wolf Among Us, my top game. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you like this, if you have any more ideas for top 5s. It's been real. It's been your boy. Remember to like and subscribe, do all that good stuff to stay up to date on the channel. Thanks for watching. Peace out.